All right, let's kick off this deep dive. And today we're taking a look at mobile EV charging in San Francisco.
Oh, cool.
Specifically, some material from Be-Charged EV.
Interesting.
Really kind of looking at how this tech is addressing some of the unique challenges in the city. You know, San Francisco, very hilly, very dense.
Yeah.
And we're going to get into some really interesting stats.
Oh.
And even a case study that might just completely change how you think about EV charging, especially in these kinds of urban environments.
Yeah, I think what's really interesting about San Francisco is the city's commitment to sustainability and electrification. They have a high EV adoption rate,
Yeah.
especially among fleet operators. And that makes it a really interesting testing ground for innovation. You know, if they can figure out EV charging in a place like San Francisco, it could have some pretty big ripple effects across the country.
Yeah. But let's be real, going electric in San Francisco, it's not exactly a walk in the park.
No.
And our source from Be-Charged EV, it spells out some serious pain points. I mean, limited space is a huge one, right, for these bulky fixed charging stations, especially with the city's insane property costs.
Exactly. The source even mentions that the installation alone can cost over $100,000 per fixed charger.
Wow.
Just thinking about the permitting, the construction, all the electrical upgrades that have to happen.
Right.
It's a major financial roadblock for anyone trying to electrify their fleet.
Huge roadblock. And then on top of that, you have that nightmare of just trying to navigate San Francisco traffic just to get to a public charging station. Think about the wasted time, especially for like delivery drivers.
Yeah.
And this, super congested areas like, south of Market, the Mission, downtown.
Oh, yeah. And all that stop and go traffic.
Yeah.
And those hills, San Francisco is famous for them. Right. That puts a real strain on EV batteries.
Uh-huh.
And then there's also the question of, can the city's aging grid infrastructure even handle this increased demand from all this EV charging?
It's a lot. There's a lot of hurdles.
Yeah.
But this is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Because Be-Charged EV is proposing this mobile charging solution.
Okay.
It's like this on-demand charging delivered right to the fleet's location. It almost sounds too good to be true.
So basically what you're saying is they just show up.
They show up.
With the charging.
Wherever the fleet is.
Wherever they are.
Doesn't matter where they are in the city.
That's pretty cool.
Right.
Yeah, well, I think the beauty of mobile charging is that it's just so flexible.
Yeah.
It tackles those challenges head on. Imagine, instead of having to rely on these fixed chargers and having to deal with space constraints.
Right.
They just pull up to your, fleet depot, to a parking garage, maybe even a job site.
Wow.
And they charge you up right there.
Okay, I'm starting to get it. But what about reliability?
Yeah.
San Francisco's grid, it's not exactly famous for being reliable.
That's a great question. And that's where Be-Charged EV's approach, I think, is really innovative. They actually use green propane or even solar energy to power their mobile chargers.
So they're totally independent of the grid.
Well, largely.
Wow.
Largely independent. So yeah, talk about reliability, especially, during peak demand or during one of those, rolling blackouts.
Oh, yeah.
That California is known for.
I mean, that's some serious outside the box thinking.
Yeah.
But okay, what about speed?
Yeah.
I mean, fleet operators, they can't afford to have their vehicles sitting around for hours.
Right.
Waiting to charge.
Absolutely not. And these mobile units, they pack a punch. They use what are called level 3 fast chargers, which can charge an EV to 80% in just 30 minutes.
Wow, that's fast.
Yeah, so we're talking about minimizing downtime.
Right.
Keeping those fleets moving. We're talking serious efficiency gains.
Okay, that's impressive. And I bet this is way more cost effective than like installing fixed chargers everywhere.
You got it. You eliminate those massive upfront costs, the installation, the permitting, the ongoing maintenance, and it's just more scalable.
Oh.
You can expand your fleet without breaking the bank.
So we're talking flexible, reliable, fast, and cost effective.
That's right.
But who exactly in San Francisco is going to benefit from this?
Well, the source highlights a couple of different use cases. You think about delivery and last mile fleets,
right,
which are, so crucial to the city's kind of e-commerce boom.
Oh, yeah.
They're constantly on the go.
Yeah.
And they can't afford to be, wasting time searching for chargers.
No, absolutely not. Those delivery drivers need all the help they can get.
Yes.
Navigating those tight streets.
Yes.
And trying to, deliver packages on time.
Yeah, it's tough out there.
Yeah, what other kind of fleets?
Well, San Francisco is all about going green, right?
Yeah.
So naturally, the city's own municipal fleet would be ideal candidates. We're talking buses, garbage trucks, maintenance vehicles.
Oh, right.
All that.
Because that really aligns with the city's sustainability goals.
Exactly.
What about all those tech and finance companies?
Oh, yeah.
They've got to have massive corporate fleets.
You're absolutely right. All those employee shuttles.
Right.
The company cars.
Yeah.
Mobile charging would offer a really scalable solution to keep those things running no matter where they are in the city.
And let's not forget about San Francisco's, massive rideshare scene.
Oh, of course.
Keeping those vehicles charged and on the road? That's
a whole other beast.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all about, keeping those wheels turning, keeping the passengers moving. But speaking of real-world examples, Be Charged EV, they lay out this fascinating case study involving a last-mile delivery fleet in San Francisco, and then it really shows how powerful mobile charging can be.
I love a good case study.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
So this particular delivery fleet, they were facing some significant delays because of the lack of public charging stations.
Oh, I can only imagine the frustration.
Yeah.
Driving around, just trying to find an available charger.
Yeah.
That must have been such a time suck.
Oh, yeah. And in a city like San Francisco where, time is money.
Yeah.
It was really draining their efficiency.
Wow.
They were losing so much time and money traveling to these off-route charging stations, not to mention the added stress for the drivers.
Right. So how did mobile charging come to the rescue?
Well, Be Charged EV, what they did was they deployed their mobile charging units directly to the fleet's central hub.
Oh, okay.
In South San Francisco.
Okay.
And this allowed them to charge their vehicles on site during off-peak hours when electricity demand is lower.
So they cut out the travel time.
Yeah.
And got those cheaper off-peak rates.
Exactly.
Brilliant. So what kind of results did they see?
The results were pretty impressive.
Okay.
They achieved a 50% reduction in downtime.
Wow.
Which means that their vehicles were spending less time plugged in, more time on the road, making deliveries.
So huge win for operational efficiency.
Yeah, huge win. And happier customers, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
I'm sure those deliveries were getting there a lot faster.
They saw a 30% improvement.
Wow.
In delivery efficiency. So faster deliveries, happier customers.
Win-win. What about their overall costs? Did mobile charging impact their bottom line?
Big time. They saved over $200,000.
Wow.
Annually.
That's a lot of money.
Annually in operational costs.
That's incredible. Talk about a return on investment.
It's huge.
Okay, so this case study it really paints a picture of how mobile charging is actually transforming fleet operations.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes you wonder, could this be like a glimpse into the future of EV charging, not just for San Francisco, but for other cities that are dealing with these same challenges?
Definitely.
Like it's clearly a really powerful solution.
Yeah.
But are we missing something? Are there any downsides?
Of course, no technology is perfect.
Right.
There are a few potential downsides.
Okay, let's dive into those in part 2 of this deep dive. Okay, welcome back to our deep dive on mobile EV charging in San Francisco. I'm still thinking about that case study, like a 50% reduction in downtime.
Yeah.
And $200,000 in annual savings.
It's pretty remarkable, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Not how mobile charging is, reshaping how these fleets are operating, making them more efficient, more sustainable.
Yeah.
But as we said before, no technology is perfect.
Right.
There are some potential downsides that we need to think about.
Let's dive into those.
Yeah.
What are some of the challenges that come with mobile EV charging?
Well, one concern is just the logistics of managing a fleet of mobile chargers. It's not as simple as just plugging into a fixed station.
Right.
You need to coordinate schedules. You need to dispatch units efficiently. Make sure you have enough chargers to meet the demand.
Right. It adds a whole other layer of complexity.
I can imagine, you'd need a pretty sophisticated system.
Oh, yeah.
Just to, keep track of all the mobile units and make sure they're in the right place at the right time.
Absolutely.
It's not something you can just, throw together overnight.
No. Yeah. It requires careful planning, real-time communication.
Yeah.
And probably some pretty smart software to optimize everything.
Right.
There's definitely a learning curve for the operators and the drivers.
So it's not just about the technology, but also about the operational side of things.
Right. You got to have the infrastructure, the processes in place to make it all work smoothly.
Yeah. What about safety?
Yeah.
Are there any risks associated with having these big mobile charging units driving around a busy city like San Francisco? Yeah, that's a valid concern, maneuvering these large vehicles in a dense urban environment. It always presents challenges.
Yeah.
I think safety protocols and driver training, those would be essential.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm thinking about things like designated charging zones.
Yeah.
Maybe even using sensors, GPS tracking to help prevent accidents.
Right.
And make sure the units are, operating safely.
Yeah. It's not just about, charging the vehicles. It's about doing it responsibly.
Yeah.
You're thinking about how to integrate these mobile charging units safely and efficiently into the urban landscape. That would be paramount.
Yeah. And what about the environmental impact?
Yeah.
We've talked about, all the benefits, but are there any trade-offs?
Yeah.
Is it truly as green as it seems?
Well, I think it's important to remember that even though mobile charging offers these advantages, we can't overlook its environmental footprint.
Yeah.
We still need to consider, the emissions from the vehicles themselves. Where is the energy coming from to charge them?
Yeah.
And even the potential for noise pollution.
Oh, yeah.
In residential areas.
It's not just about switching to electric vehicles. It's the whole ecosystem.
Right.
Right. If you're using fossil fuels to power those mobile charging units, it kind of defeats the purpose.
Exactly.
Especially in a city like San Francisco.
Yeah.
With these ambitious clean energy goals.
Yeah. The source does mention green propane as a fuel source.
Oh, okay.
And while it is, considered cleaner than conventional propane, it still does involve burning fossil fuels.
So is there a way to reconcile that with San Francisco's, commitment to sustainability?
Right.
Could those units be powered by renewables?
I mean, that's the ideal scenario.
Yeah.
Ideally, you'd want to see these mobile charging units powered by solar, wind, other renewable energy sources, that would truly minimize their environmental impact and really align with San Francisco's, clean energy vision.
Okay, that sounds like a perfect solution.
Yeah.
But are there any technical or logistical hurdles to using renewables for mobile charging?
Well, the challenge with renewables with something like solar is that it's intermittent.
Right.
You need a reliable source of power, especially for fast charging. You wouldn't want a cloudy day to disrupt an entire fleet's charging schedule.
No, absolutely not.
Right. So
maybe a hybrid approach would make sense.
Possibly.
Yeah. Right. Like combine renewables with other clean energy sources to ensure a consistent and reliable power supply.
Exactly. Maybe you could have solar panels on the units to kind of supplement the power grid.
Okay.
Or utilize battery storage system to capture that excess renewable energy.
Right. Yeah.
And use it during peak demand.
So it's about finding that balance. Right. Between the benefits of mobile charging, but also minimizing the negative impacts.
Right. There's no one-size-fits-all answer.
Yeah.
It's really about finding the right mix of solutions for each specific situation.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of benefiting people, one thing that I think is really intriguing about mobile charging is its potential to address some of the equity concerns around EV adoption.
Oh, are you thinking about how fixed charging infrastructure tends to be, concentrated in wealthier areas?
Yeah, exactly. With more access to private parking and charging facilities.
Exactly. Not everyone has a garage or a dedicated parking lot where they can install a charger.
Right.
But with mobile charging, you can bring the power to the vehicles, regardless of where they are.
You're absolutely right. I mean, that could be a game changer for lower income communities that might not have easy access to traditional charging stations. Mobile charging can really level the playing field. And make EV adoption more equitable.
Yeah, it's like bridging the gap between those who can afford to install chargers at home and those who rely on public charging infrastructure, which we know is often limited and inconvenient.
Yes.
Mobile charging could fill that gap and make EVs a more viable option.
For sure.
For more. Yeah, and that aligns with, these broader environmental and social justice goals.
Right.
Making clean transportation accessible to everyone. Yeah. It's essential for creating a more sustainable and just society.
This is making me think about all these other possibilities.
Yeah.
What about emergency situations?
Oh, interesting.
Could mobile charging units be useful during power outages or natural disasters?
That's a brilliant idea. I mean, remember how we talked about the units being able to operate off grid?
Right.
That makes them so valuable in those situations. They could be deployed to disaster-stricken areas.
Right.
To power essential vehicles or even, provide temporary power to homes and businesses.
I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like having a mobile power station on wheels. They could be a lifeline for first responders, medical teams, anyone who needs reliable power when the grid is down.
Absolutely. They could play, such a crucial role in disaster preparedness and response, especially in a city like San Francisco that's, prone to earthquakes and other natural disasters.
It's like a Swiss Army knife of EV charging.
Yeah.
It can keep fleets running smoothly, but it can also support community resilience.
Yes.
In times of need, what other potential benefits are we overlooking here?
Well, I think one area that deserves some attention is the impact of mobile charging on grid management.
Right.
As we see more and more EVs on the road, there are growing concerns about the strain that's going to put on the existing power grid.
Right, especially during those peak demand times.
Oh yeah.
When everybody's plugging in and cranking up the AC.
Exactly.
So could mobile charging actually help with that?
I think so. Imagine if you could strategically deploy these mobile charging units to areas with a high concentration of EVs.
Okay.
But limited grid capacity.
Right.
They could act as a buffer, providing, supplemental power during those peak periods and help prevent grid overload.
Ah, okay.
Right? It's like a mobile power bank for the grid itself.
Yeah.
Keeping things balanced and preventing those brownouts, blackouts that nobody wants.
I never would have thought of that.
It's really interesting, isn't it? It's a testament to the innovative thinking that's happening in this space. Yeah. And it really shows why it's so important to pay attention to what's going on in San Francisco. Yeah. They're often at the forefront of these technological advancements, and their solutions could have really far-reaching implications for other cities facing these similar challenges.
It's like they're saying, bring on the hills, bring on the traffic, bring on the grid constraints. We've got mobile charging to tackle it all.
Yeah, it really speaks volumes about their commitment to sustainability and their willingness to embrace these bold new ideas.
Okay, I'm officially convinced mobile EV charging is a game changer.
Yeah.
It's not just about keeping vehicles charged. Yeah. It's about transforming how we think about energy, transportation, urban planning.
Absolutely.
But before we, get too carried away,
yeah,
let's shift gears for a moment and talk about the role of government in all of this.
Okay, excellent point. Policy and regulation, they're going to play such a crucial role in shaping the future of mobile EV charging. What kind of initiatives do you think could help foster
the growth of this technology?
I mean, I think incentives would be a good place to start.
Yeah.
Providing grants, subsidies, tax breaks to companies like Be Charged EV to help accelerate the adoption of mobile charging infrastructure.
Absolutely. I mean, government support could really be a key driver in scaling up this technology and making it more widely accessible.
What about streamlining the permitting process?
Oh, yeah.
Because it sounds like getting permission to operate these mobile units in San Francisco could be a real bureaucratic nightmare.
That's a valid concern. I think simplifying the regulatory landscape would definitely make it easier for these operators to set up and move their units around the city.
Maybe they could even designate specific zones
interesting.
for mobile charging, kind of like we have for food trucks. Yeah, I like that analogy.
Yeah.
Having those designated areas where fleets can reliably access these mobile charging services, that could create a more organized and predictable system.
Yeah, absolutely.
For both the operators and the public.
Right. And it would also address any concerns about, these units just kind of being all over the place.
Right.
Cluttering up public spaces, impeding traffic flow.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want them randomly parked anywhere.
Absolutely not.
And of course, we can't forget about the importance of public education.
Oh, that's key.
Right? People need to understand how mobile charging works, what the benefits are, how it fits into, the bigger picture of sustainable transportation.
You got to dispel those myths, misconceptions, and get everyone on board.
Yeah, you got to get everyone excited about the possibilities.
Yeah.
It's not just a tech solution. It's a vision of a cleaner, more efficient, more equitable future for San Francisco.
Well said. It's about painting that picture of a city where electric mobility is seamless, accessible, and beneficial for everyone.
This whole conversation has been so eye-opening.
Yeah.
I feel like we've only just scratched the surface of what mobile EV charging could mean for San Francisco and beyond.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure exploring these ideas with you. It's clear that this technology has the potential to be truly transformative, not just for how we power our vehicles, but for how we design our cities, manage our energy resources, create a more sustainable future.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
And remember, if you're interested in learning more about mobile EV charging solutions, be sure to check out Be Charged EV.
Great company.
You can reach them at 888-675-9555.
Yeah, they're doing some really incredible work in this space.
They are. It's inspiring to see companies like Be Charged EV, pushing the boundaries of what's possible and paving the way for a more electrified future.
For sure.
Well, on that note, it's time to wrap up this deep dive.
That's okay.
We hope you've enjoyed the ride and learned something new along the way.
Absolutely.
Until next time.
Yeah.
Keep those wheels turning and those minds curious.
And who knows, maybe the next time you're stuck in traffic in San Francisco, you'll see a mobile charging unit whizzing by, bringing a little bit of the future to the streets.
Yeah, that'd be great. All right, welcome back to our final part of this mobile EV charging deep dive in San Francisco. It's been quite a journey, hasn't it?
Yeah, it really has. We've gone from talking about charging logistics to picturing self-driving EVs charging up in these futuristic urban oases.
I know, right? It's crazy how mobile charging seems to connect so many parts of city life.
Yeah.
Transportation, energy, tech, even social equity.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of all those connections, you mentioned earlier how mobile charging could change the automotive industry. I'd love to hear more about that. How do you see this tech changing how we make and sell cars?
Well, it makes you wonder if we really need to be obsessed with these long-range batteries.
Right.
If mobile charging was everywhere, Imagine if you could just top up your battery anywhere, anytime.
That's a great point. If nobody had range anxiety anymore, could we start seeing smaller, lighter, more affordable EVs?
Yeah, cars that are designed more for efficiency and getting around the city, not just how far they can go on one charge.
Right. Especially in a city like San Francisco, where space is so limited.
Yeah.
Small EVs zipping around, easily finding a mobile charger when they need one.
Exactly. And then, those big, heavy battery packs that make EVs so expensive.
Yeah.
Maybe we wouldn't need them anymore. That would make EVs a real option for way more people.
And it could have a huge impact on the battery industry, too.
Oh, yeah, that's right. If everybody's driving EVs with smaller batteries.
Exactly. It could change what kind of batteries we need. Maybe we'll see less focus on how much energy a battery can hold and more on fast charging and how long they last. Batteries made for quick charges, not driving across the country.
It's pretty amazing how this one tech could change so many industries.
Yeah.
It's like this wave of innovation.
Yeah, it shows how connected all these technologies are. It's never just one thing changing. It sets off all these other changes, too.
It's a good reminder that we can't think about these things in a bubble. We have to look at the big picture, see how everything is connected. But let's talk about San Francisco again. We've talked about potential challenges, all that. But what about actually making this happen? How do we actually get mobile EV charging working in the city?
Well, a lot of it comes down to collaboration. The city planners, policymakers, utility companies, the fleet operators, companies like Be-Charged EV, they all need to work together.
So how do we get all those different groups on the same page?
Well, first off, we need to make sure the rules and regulations support this kind of technology. Making it easy to get permits for mobile charging would be a huge help.
Yeah, it shouldn't be so hard to do something that's good for the city.
Exactly. And then we need to figure out the infrastructure side of things. Do we set up special mobile charging zones? How do we fit these chargers into the city without causing problems or making things dangerous?
It has to be well planned, make sure it works for everybody.
Right. And we need to think about how to encourage people to use mobile charging, maybe offer grants or tax breaks for companies that switch over. How do we make financial sense for businesses and regular people?
Yeah, make it practical, make it affordable.
And, of course, we can't forget about educating the public.
Yeah, that's so important.
People need to know how this technology works, what the benefits are.
Right. Get everybody excited about it.
Exactly. Mobile charging, it's not just a tech solution. It's a whole new way of thinking about a better future for San Francisco.
It's a cleaner, more efficient, fairer future.
Exactly.
This has been such a great conversation. It feels like we've only just started to think about what mobile EV charging could mean for San Francisco and other places, too.
It's been great talking about this with you. This tech could really change everything, not just how we charge our cars, but how we design cities, use energy, build a more sustainable world.
Absolutely. And hey, if you want to learn more about mobile EV charging, be sure to check out Be-Charged EV. Their number is 888-675-9555. They're doing really amazing things in this space.
Yeah, they really are. It's great to see companies like them pushing the limits and showing us what's possible.
Well, that about wraps up our deep dive. We hope you enjoyed listening and that you learned some cool stuff along the way.
Thanks for joining us.
Until next time, keep exploring and stay curious.